All right, welcome back to the Daily Mastermind. George Wright III with your daily dose of inspiration, motivation, and education. Welcome back to the Mastermind. I want to talk to you today a little bit about a foundation for the next 12 weeks. Now, because I've said this a million times, it's never too late to start living your best life, but you have to get the mental discipline, the consistency, the support. That's why the Daily Mastermind is here. Now, we've had a little bit of holidays going on, and maybe sometimes I post at morning and sometimes in the afternoon, but I promise you, I'm going to be here to help support and guide you through this process over the next 12 weeks. So we're going to deep dive into evolving your life. Last week, we talked about your mind, your body, your money, your business. I want to talk to you this week about your lifestyle as well. But I want to start you with a foundation. Now, you may or may not have seen the Prosperity Pillars poster that I designed a while back. It's been, I don't know how many years now, but I want to give you a little bit of background on that because I think it's important to have a foundation in your life, not just for daily rituals, not just a cool little poster, but the bottom line is this. Look, about, maybe 10 years ago, I was having a real tough time. I had gone through a recent divorce. I had a business failure. In my mind, it was a failure, right? Because I know that I'm very difficult on myself and on business and life. But I was really struggling. I was dealing with some depression. I was having a hard time trying to find where I wanted to go and what I wanted to do. And the reason for this is because as I had grown up, I had been focused on creating my dreams, right? And living today like most won't, so you can live tomorrow like most can't, which is just a bunch of crap. I wish it hadn't taken me so long to realize that you can create your best life at any given time and that you have to disconnect happiness and success. They don't have to necessarily go hand in hand. And plus, my definition of success completely redefined. But the bottom line is this: I was really struggling. And yet, over the last 20, 25 years, I had all of these opportunities to learn from mentors and best-selling authors and thought leaders and experts, people like Tony Robbins, Robert Kiyosaki, Donald Trump, Brian Tracy, Harv Eker, Les Brown. All of these types of individuals I either did marketing for, or they spoke for me, or I had events. I got to get real up close and personal, and I learned a lot of things. And I got to tell you, a lot of the true success principles are around and they stand the test of time. They just get repackaged, right? You've heard different things come up and about, and yet books like Think and Grow Rich from Napoleon Hill have been time tested, and even to this day, I reread that book, and so many people have done the same. So I started to just put on paper everything I could think of that I felt were principles, things that I wanted to take into my life to build a foundation, and I was trying to find a way to crawl out of this little rut that I was in. And so I started putting down my thoughts, daily rituals, working on your mindset. And as many of you have heard the story of my mentor, Robert Stuberg, helping me to redefine success and redefine what my version of success was. And through that process, I started to list out some principles, some prosperity principles. And it turns out that those basically have developed into the 12 prosperity pillars that you see today. And what I did is I designed them up on a poster just for my benefit. Most of what I do and most of what you do should be for your benefit because it will then help others. I started the podcast. I started the Daily Mastermind. I started the community. And to this day, I haven't really sold anything from it at all. I do it for my benefit. I do it to help others. But these principles that I picked up and I learned, these 12 prosperity pillars, they were designed to basically help me remind myself of what was most important if I wanted to create my best life. And in order to create your best life, you've got to focus on doing the things that you know you need to do. And so I want to just walk you through these 12 pillars, and I'm going to do it because anything else, I have people every once in a while say, man, you talk about those same things all the time. And it's just like professional basketball players that have to learn to shoot free throws. The fundamentals are what drive your game, what drive your life. It's what drives your philosophy. And your philosophy is what's going to take you where you want to go, your beliefs. And so unless you're consciously creating those beliefs, you're not going to change your life. Let's be honest. You've gotten where you are now because of what you've been doing. So if you can take these, not just on surface value, but learn to adopt them, ingrain them, dig deep into them, I think you're going to find that these 12 prosperity principles are not as simple as they sound. They are, and I don't just mean in difficulty, right? The depth that you can go into these 12 principles are beyond anything you can imagine. So I'm going to go through them relatively quickly because we'll spend time over the next 12 weeks and dig deep into them. But I want you to think about these, and I want you to keep an open mind as to what it is you're trying to create in your life and how these principles might help you to do that. And also take a self-assessment. How are you playing when it comes? How are you showing up when it comes to these principles? So the first one is I create my life. I create my life. I felt like it all stemmed around the ability for you to acknowledge and believe that you are the orchestrator of your life. Your inner world will create your outer world, but you are the one who controls and creates that. You may not control everything else around you, but if you can adopt that philosophy, it'll take you far. The second one is I take personal responsibility. See, it's one thing to believe you can create your life. It's another thing to take personal responsibility for everything that happens. There's no other way to say this but that everything in your life is exactly the way it is because of you, your decisions, your beliefs, your actions. And so it's so important to take personal responsibility. The third one is probably my favorite. I act in spite of my mood. Because no one wants to get up early. Nobody wants to work late. Nobody wants to work a side hustle. Nobody wants to do the difficult things because it's not fun. It's difficult. But successful people act in spite of their mood. You don't allow your mood to determine whether your actions are going to continue to push you forward in your life. The next one is I surround myself with positive people. Now, I thought about this a little bit and I thought maybe it should be I surround myself with successful people or happy people. But I felt there's a universal principle around positivity. And as I talked to most of the people that I felt were successful in their life, their personal, their financial, their business life, I found that the positive attitude is one that really drives you forward. You can always get around successful people. You can always find people that are happy. But having that positive verb, that energy is huge. Then it moves on to I focus on solutions. Think about that for a second. I focus on solutions, not just I focus on trying to come up with answers, but I constantly focus on solutions as a baseline because you've got to come from a place of abundance, not scarcity. If you're focused on the problem, trying to solve it, you're coming from a place of scarcity. So focus on solutions. The next one is I create an attitude of abundance. It goes hand in hand. But you notice it doesn't just say I live in abundance. It says I create an attitude of abundance. You can control your attitude. You may not control your environment, but you can create that attitude of abundance. Then I choose to be happy. Happiness by far and away is absolutely a choice. Because when you choose happiness, you've set yourself on a path and you're going in motion towards your best life. The next prosperity pillar is I always think win-win. Now, I learned this lesson in business because I used to get pretty overwhelmed with trying to think of things. But if you think about it now in the business world, the personal world, with the power of AI and the internet and things, there are so many answers. But the key fundamental difference is that you want to make sure that you always believe that everyone can win in any situation, that you don't have to have someone else lose for you to get ahead. The next principle is I am committed to lifelong learning. I am committed to lifelong learning. See, when you think about how you can create your life and you're learning and you try to find a way to be able to grow, it's not just about learning. It's not just about finding ways to grow. It's about applying the learning. And this is why lifelong learning for me is an application. You have to apply it throughout your whole life. And lifelong learning keeps you young, it keeps you open, it keeps you fresh. And I think that's something that we all need to adopt. The next principle is I create daily rituals. Now, this is the one that I believe will push you forward when motivation is gone. It will lead you on a path, steps at a time, towards your best life. But if you don't have daily rituals that also revolve around who you are and what helps you and influences you the best, if you're just checking boxes, those aren't going to work for you. So you've got to create daily rituals. The next principle is I attract success. I think that's a belief, a fundamental belief you've got to ingrain in your DNA. I attract success. Money, happiness, communication, relationships, friendships, community. I attract it because you've got to learn to take action but Harv Eker's always talked about you've got to allow space for attraction. And the final principle is I visualize and manifest my life. Now, I put that on the bottom last because I wanted to leave you with that thought whenever you thought about these principles, because I believe I know a lot of people think it's a woo-woo type of thing, energetic type thing, but I believe if you're going to create your life, you've got to first visualize in order to manifest your life. And we don't spend enough time doing that. You've got to learn to visualize and then manifest the life that you want to have. It's never too late to start living your best life. That's my message for today. I want you to keep these 12 principles as something you feel you can carry you through the next 12 weeks. We'll dig deep into these and give you some strategies and tactics. But for now, that's the message. I would like you to do me a favor. If you wouldn't mind, please share this show. Share the show so that everyone can benefit. We can grow the community. We can make a positive difference and impact in the lives of those around us. That's my message for today. I hope you have an amazing day, and I look forward to talking with you more tomorrow. Once again, my name is George Wright III, and this has been the Daily Mastermind.